Hello and welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Brody.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, we're gonna be doing some intergalactic traveling this episode. We're gonna be, you know, kind of gaming it up in a nostalgic sort of way. So I hope you'll join us through the galaxy and on this journey. But before we get to all that, Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Man, what happened this last week? My parents came down this weekend,
Yes,
so and my grandma. I got to see my grandma, which was nice. Gloria Day.
I got to
Um,
see her as well.
I know. I'm
Very
so happy you guys got to
exciting.
see each other, man.
Yes.
It was great. I'm definitely gonna try to come up because I think she's here a little bit into April, so I'm gonna try to come up to see them and see you guys.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
Trying to figure out what weekend that's going to be, but I am really excited to see her again and hang out with the fam. Yeah, it was nice. We went to kind of celebrate my dad's birthday, and actually my girlfriend's birthday was the day after my dad's, so it was kind of like a joint celebration thing. We went out to dinner.
Celebrate.
That was nice.
What'd you have?
Went to Morton's Steakhouse, dude. So some
Ooh,
good
okay.
steaks.
Right
Good
on.
steaks,
Right
dude.
on.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Of course, we had my grandma on the podcast at one point, which is really
Yes.
cool. And it's so good to see her. It's so strange. I feel very fortunate and lucky that I've been able to see my grandma and my grandparents at the time, almost like every year of my life. I mean, I feel like it's been such a strain with the COVID stuff, and the closures and travel bans and all that stuff. That's why it was a little, it was hard for her to get over here, and now she's able to. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I'm super excited. So
Right
yeah,
on, man.
yeah,
Yes. I had the pleasure of seeing her Friday night and yeah, the your grandma gives the best hugs ever. It's just like,
yeah.
very, very, very happy to see her and the last time that we saw her, at least personally, I was kind of in my darkest of days, and so to kind of be able to see her and for her, everyone has kind of acknowledged it throughout, but for your grandma to be like, you seem better, you seem good, and it's like, thank you. That means a lot, coming from her. So yeah, it was absolutely great to see her and everyone, your parents, Uncle Mike, the O'Connors. It was a good time
The whole gang, dude.
and just finished the leftover pizza from that night.
What'd you
It was
get for pizza?
Pasquale's.
Squallies.
Yeah, my folks got like 4 or 5 large pizzas, so I took like a large and a half home, and I just finished it.
Definitely worth it, right?
Early dinner. Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. What else? Made a big ticket purchase item
Ooh,
um,
what?
this morning.
What are you doing?
Yes,
What are you doing?
well, I I've been wanting the new iMac for a very long time, and wanted to wait for the Pro, for the 27-inch screen, blah 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 blah. And then that did not get announced. Instead, what got announced was the Mac Studio and the Mac Studio display. And so for a minute, I was kind of going back and forth, like, should I shell out that
Like,
much
wait. Yeah,
money
I feel you. Yeah, yeah.
and just do that and pull the trigger on that? But that was gonna be like 4 grand, and I don't have that. I don't even feel necessarily entirely comfortable buying a desktop, but I pulled the trigger on the purple iMac, and I'm very excited.
Ooh,
So that should be here in about 2 weeks.
dude. All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's gonna be
Little
my new.
upgrades, dude.
It's like I've been on this MacBook Pro since 2016, and before that, I had my iMac, the 21 and a half inch
I
that I
remember the
got in
iMac.
2012.
Yeah.
It's in the closet. It barely works anymore, but I miss having that screen economy and I don't know. I'm a bitch for Apple. I like the design of Apple things. I don't want like a third party screen with like you know what I mean? Like I tried
Yeah.
doing
No. Yeah.
different configurations. I was like, can I make the Pro display work with like a Mac Mini? But that was still nearly 4 grand. So I was like, eh. Um, but I'm very excited. I'm very freaking excited to like have like a workhorse computer that will I can do like projects on and all
Dude,
kinds of things. So
it's well worth it too, especially like I'm kind of in the same uh kind of in the same headspace right now. I eventually need to get a new computer.
yeah,
And I was looking at the studios that they announced.
they're just so it's 2000 just to get the little brick thing, and then it's another 2 grand to get
The monitor, right?
the
Yeah.
monitor. Yeah, and
So
you're not getting keyboard, you're not getting mouse. It's
yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I have like I guess with funny enough with the kind of here's the behind the scenes of the podcast right now. I have like a screen. I think it's a 20-inch monitor, HP, and then another one flipped on its side, and it does what it does for me, I think. But I know there's like obviously resolution, and there's kind of now there's like 4K displays and all this kind of crazy stuff now.
yeah.
And I'm sure with the Apple one that's paired with it, it's really really clean and with all the Retina displays and everything. So I would love to eventually upgrade. I think the time for the laptop for me is over.
I'm over it, dude.
Yeah,
I was writing over the weekend, and I always have my font as small as it can fucking go, because I'm stubborn. I think that's the cleanest aesthetic. I like that. And but I'm writing and I'm hunched over on my little, you know, laptop, and I literally had to zoom in on the font and kind of I was like, I'm ready for a fucking bigger screen to just kind of
yeah,
look
dude.
up at and you know, it's time.
It's time,
I'm very
dude.
excited.
Just
So
gotta, yeah, you just gotta just save up the money and go for it. And then I know they have you were telling me about the Apple credit card programs they have too as
yeah.
well. But I
Well,
would
I
like to,
actually
yeah. I was gonna
well,
say,
so it's
I'm
no, go for it.
sorry. I
Go
was about to say I
for it.
would love to buy the computer just straight up with, just if I can, when I can. So
That's how I did it. I saved a bunch of checks like from last year's tax return and blah blah blah. And it was funny. So it was at the dinner for your grandmother where like my mom said something about like Matt hasn't even cashed his checks from Nana for Christmas. I'm like, I haven't either. I'm just stockpiling, waiting to buy the computer. And everyone in the room was like, checks go bad after 3 months. You need to put that in the bank. I literally had no, I'm an idiot. I'm an asshole. And so the next morning took pictures of all my checks and was like, okay, it's time to pull the trigger because what I've been waiting for is out. What do I do? Yeah, I could have come out of pocket and gotten the studio set up, but instead I'm saving like I'm pocketing a good chunk of change and I'm going to put that towards like student loans and that kind of thing. So
yeah, yeah,
it's just unfortunately the smarter. It's not the sexier choice, but it is the smarter choice. You know what I mean? At the moment,
yeah. No, I think that.
although that could be refuted as well. So
I mean, you never know, dude. And I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm working off a 2012 MacBook Pro, and that thing's it's starting to lag a bit, every now and then, but
a
it's
2000 what? How old?
2012,
Oh man, yeah,
yeah.
that's on its last. Can you even update that, or what
Can't
operating
update it.
system?
El Capitan right now, which is
Holy shit!
yeah.
Yeah.
It has been a challenge with obviously like browsers and stuff, but
Hmm.
what I need it to do, I could still do what I need to do on it. But I
That's
would
cool.
like to obviously have all the latest kind of operating systems, and then of course the performance because my performance is shit right now. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's been
yeah.
kind of the challenge. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's been kind of the challenge with. Um, sorry, I got stuck
This is what you
in
need. I
I
wish I
know.
could just
Did I?
hand this glass of
Okay.
water to
I'm
you.
gonna grab water real quick. Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain the kids. Um, if you're watching the show, I see we have two viewers
Yeah,
that
that
may
has
or may
been
not be
the
true.
that has been the
Um,
thing, dude. Just not being able to upgrade to the even the latest operating system,
yeah.
and I'm starting to hit that wall of like stuff just does not like even like new software that I'm getting into is just not able to work
Well,
on
shit, man. I
things.
would turn on my iMac from 2012 and it would just
Yeah.
and you hear the fan starting to kick and nothing's happening. It's just beach ball for eternity.
Oh
Um, so yeah, but I miss having screen size and all that. And yeah, there's something about the all-in-one iMac. It's just so clean, and I love the fact that it's purple. But like
It's
also,
good.
how thin it is wild.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like a lot of these computers, like it's starting to get like pretty crazy. I can't imagine what even the next like Apple set of computers is going to be in the next like year or two, just based off of what we're seeing. Like I think it's going to be even flatter or whatever. And
Yeah,
but I'm excited, and I'm excited for you, dude, because that that helps out workflow and like what you're working on and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Well, and yeah, it's hard when your workspace isn't comfortable or isn't, what it needs to be, or what I'm not excited to sit down in front of my 15-inch screen and get to work. It's just too tight for me. All the windows, there's not enough room to breathe. And like, it sounds silly, but having that kind of thinking space
it
of emptiness
helps.
on your screen, it helps a
It
lot.
helps, dude. It
Yeah.
does. Um,
So
yeah, I just having for me the big like upgrade has been the second monitor. I think it's like
yeah.
it helps with that kind of thing too, like the kind of space you have to work with. This is how I'm able to do this streaming stuff. Is I can't imagine. I've done it before on actually on my laptop when I was, when we did it with Maddie and Alex. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Matt and Alex, like I had to half my screen pretty much with Zoom and the OBS stuff and all that. So it helps a lot, dude, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to have a second screen. That would be ideal. But I feel like I have kind of an old school desk. I mean, the desk is old school one, but it's also like I don't want it cluttered with two monitors. You know what I mean? I would like the aesthetic as clean as possible. So I'm being stubborn in that regard. You know what I mean?
But at the same time,
Um,
you got your focal point.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
I used
excited,
to use
dude.
my 32-inch Vizio as like a second screen.
I did the exact same thing. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, 2 years ago, I just had this like 32-inch TV that was just my monitor, and
Yeah.
it was okay. But I realized that that's why you have computer monitors and like specific monitors for these things because they ratio in the way it
It can
makes everything.
stretch and
Yeah.
distort, and yeah.
So
And there's significant lag and all that kind of stuff to consider. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
excited.
that's so cool,
Yeah.
dude. I'm excited for you.
Thank
Shoot,
you.
man, I can't wait to like, I can't wait to see some cool stuff on there. Like,
Yeah, man. Should begin in 2 weeks. So hopefully the next time, or the second time from now, this is gonna look a lot sharper, which will look uglier, but prettier. You know what I mean?
that's right. You can have a different camera on there too. Ah, dude,
Yeah.
crazy.
Whew.
Cool, man.
I'm ready
Cool.
for it. I'm
Treat
ready for
yourself, dude. It's good. You
it.
save.
Yeah.
That's what you get, man. You can treat yourself like that, and it's something you're gonna use, for a lot of
Yeah.
your work and everything. So,
And the
yeah,
fact that it's purple,
that's kind of dope. I kind of wish
that's
I
pretty.
had. It's like
Yeah.
my color scheme in this room. So we just moved here, but like I'm trying to still figure out what I'm gonna do with this. I used to in the old place have like LED lights, and I have the lights on my desk, and it's nice at night because you have kind of like a kind of ambience and vibe, I guess, or
Wait,
whatever.
do
But
you do you do you leave it on all night? Do you sleep with it on?
no, I
Oh,
just I
okay.
just have it on when I'm working on stuff at night, and then it's kind of like a weird night light. Like before I go to bed, I'm kind of like just hanging out in bed, and then when I'm ready to,
Right on.
I just hit the little Bluetooth button or whatever.
Love that. Yeah.
But
Very
wow,
nice.
we just went down a deep dive.
So
But
many. But I hope for the dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience that it was informative,
yeah,
entertaining, um, awe-inspiring, if I may. I will. But yeah. Jonathan, should we get to some lists, my friend?
let's do it.
Let us fuck. Um, would you like to go first? Would you like I to go first?
Uh, I'll go first, Joey.
Okay.
Even I guess I could preface this. These are two proposed lists that Joey came up with today, but they're really cool and interesting. And I'm gonna start with the. We're gonna go into the Star Wars universe here.
Right on.
Um, Joey, what are your top five favorite Star Wars locations or planets?
Okay. This is the great thing about Star Wars because Star Wars is dead to me. I kind of have grown to hate everything Disney's done to it and all that kind of shit. But there's so many facets and wonderful rabbit holes that you can still go down in Star Wars and enjoy without while ignoring the bullshit that is being thrown out there. And in this sense, we're going to focus on planets and locales. So yes, number five. I'm going to do a tie between Hoth and Dagobah. Both appear in
Ooh,
Empire Strikes Back. Hoth is the ice planet. Dagobah is the swamp planet where Yoda is hiding out. Both seem pretty fucking uninhabitable. Um, but from a visual standpoint, they're both incredibly striking. Hoth, is just a layer of white. And Dagobah is, the brown and the swamp and the snakes and the vines. And, you can smell it when
you
it's
can
on screen.
smell it.
So it's very evocative, and both places are. Yeah, Empire's got some great locales. So that's my tie for number five. Number
Okay.
four, my only prequel planet to make the list, Coruscant from episode one. I believe it's where the Republic, the capital is,
Yeah.
where the Jedi Temple is, where the Senate, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the main action in the prequel trilogies happens on Coruscant or in defense of Coruscant. Um, and it's a really cool city planet, but city in a way that feels aristocratic. You know what I mean? Where like there's that one, God, my hair. I don't know what I'm getting caught looking at myself, but the opening of, and I could be very wrong here. The opening of Attack of the Clones takes place in a city, right, where they're hunting
Yes.
down the assassin, where he's like death sticks, blah, 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 is that what city is that Coruscant?
I think I remember it to be Coruscant.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Damn, because I'm like, because it's not like that city, but at least in the first one, it feels very regal. It feels, kind of old world,
Yeah.
almost something out of Game of Thrones, even,
Okay. Yeah.
where yeah, it's more of a urbanized kind of Blade Runner-esque kind of city in the beginning of Attack of the Clones, right?
Yeah.
So it's versatile. It's
It's
versatile, we'll
versatile.
say.
I like
Yes.
it. I like it.
Number three, Mos Espa. Um,
Oh,
who wouldn't
yeah.
want to go have a drink at Mos Espa and get their arm cut off or
Yeah.
book a freighter off planet, like it's pretty cool. It's a cool spot. Listen to some jizz.
So,
That that is the name of the music.
that is the name of the
Uh,
music.
Friggin' Dan and his jizz band. I'm not even kidding you. Look it up.
It's real. It's real
It's
Star Wars
real. Yeah.
canon.
So just drink and listen to jizz. That would be my time. Number two, Endor, more specifically, Ewok Village. I fucking love tree houses.
It's cool.
And I love, nature and being in the mountains and the trees and all that stuff. And that place just always looked so like, yeah, man, I would hang out here. There's a level kind of later on in the game of the first Donkey Kong Country that reminds me a lot of Ewok Village, and the vibes are just good. It's laid back, it's kind of, but it's tough and who do I? Where did this hatred for the Ewoks come from in the
I
last 10 years?
I don't know. I don't know
Right?
why it kind of like, cause aren't there, they were helping out, and they're
Yeah,
cute cuddly things. I don't know,
right.
dude.
They're cute, but they're fucking deadly.
Deadly. Yeah.
It's such a I don't know. I feel like I only started hearing this complaint around the end of college of people being like, "Fuck Return of the Jedi" or "Fuck the Ewoks," fucking
Yeah.
kid shit. It's like
What's
it's
up
all
with
kid
that?
shit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Anyway, I love the Ewoks. I love Endor. Love it. Like Ewok Village on Endor. Um, number one, Uh, if I was going to live somewhere in Star Wars in terms of like for a view, it would be Cloud City in Bespin, where
Oh
Lando
yeah,
Calrissian is, and where the
Lando.
final act of Empire Strikes Back takes place. So Empire Strikes Back is wonderful, and that's the thing. I think I was talking with Lisa about this not too long ago. Like the original Star Wars trilogy, um, the first one, sand. The
Yeah,
second one, ice slash swamp slash clouds. The third one, forest. They all have their very specific, and I think that's the one thing missing from the prequels and the sequel trilogy is there's no distinct environment that separates the movies unto themselves.
yeah.
You can
I
say Octu or whatever, but
Yeah, and I mean, also I feel the shows to the Mandalorian
mhm.
and Boba Fett, even though I guess they are taking place on Tatooine mostly, but it's like they have such an opportunity to explore some other planets, and that's the beauty of the whole thing. If you're gonna expand the Star Wars universe, you got a lot to play with there, as far as creating different
Yeah,
planets and different habitats for people. But I like that. I think especially with Empire Strikes Back, right? Like there's so many different locations you go to in that movie, which is
yeah,
super cool, and it just shows like it makes the world bigger for you, even if we're just talking about the the original trilogy, right? It
yeah,
creates that like sense of, this is a galaxy far, far away, and there's these different planets with different creatures and people cohabitating in these places. Like, I think that's the kind of cool. That's always what was so interesting about Star Wars too. When you live in that world, is like, you know, who are the locals at this place, or what's the challenges that the heroes and the characters will face, even in their location environment too, outside of just the Empire trying to come and take over. So
it's true.
it's true.
It is true. Shawnee, I'm very curious to hear your top five
I kind of
Star Wars
regret I
locales.
kind of regret not putting Cloud City in there, because it's a pretty cool location, and
It is.
I got a few. I mean, I for my number five, I put Mustafar, which was like the
Ooh,
volcano kind of planet. I think it's in Revenge of the Sith. Is
yes.
that it? It's Revenge of the Sith. It's I always associate with like Sith lords, and that's where the whole scene, you have the higher ground, and all that stuff. And I don't know. There's something about the like volcanoes and fire, and I always find it's obviously so visually striking when you look at it, and there, it again, kind of like a lot of these places, they don't look very habitable. Like that place, like unless you build a structure that withstands and can kind of float on top of this volcano and all these different lava pits. It is kind of an interesting location to choose, but it worked really well for that. As much as I didn't like the Revenge of the Sith, like yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. Like they had that location at least to show
Yeah,
us. So that's number five.
love it.
I put number four. Now I'm kind of regretting it because I did kind of bash like, oh, there's a lot of desert kind of planets, but I did kind of like Jakku in the
I don't know why I just knew you were gonna say Jakku. I knew
yeah.
it was gonna piss me off.
I don't know. I think it's the I mean, I think obviously the remnants of, I guess, when we see it in Force Awakens, the remnants of like the Empire, the old Empire, and just all the ships and stuff down there, like maybe that version of it. We don't know too much about Jakku. It's kind of similar to Tatooine in some way of like
Yeah,
kind of desert people, and kind of what's the word, traders, and kind of those types of
it's it's Tatooine 2. I call it Tutooine.
Tatooine.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was like the visuals that got me. I would
that is
def
a striking. That's the best visual out of all the sequel trilogy when Rey's riding her speeder and you see the downed X-wing and Star Destroyer. That
Yeah,
is, I'll give you that. I'll give that alone would get it over a few other planets for me for
over a
sure.
few. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, And then I've kind of got, uh, I mean, I guess I guess Tatooine, because I mean, you spend a lot of time with like Luke Skywalker and a lot of the main characters in that first movie, and of course they bring it back in the shows, and maybe it's my connection to like, oh, that's where the hero's journey kind of started, and um, it is kind of a more isolated place, and maybe there's not much to do there at Tatooine, but it also was the starting ground or kind of area where Luke, where we were introduced to Luke Skywalker, and so it does have like a lasting memory with me as far as Tatooine and all all the different creatures, the Sand People, the all the different types of creatures that you're introduced to for Star Wars. Seeing the original trilogy. So Tatooine for 3,
Very good.
and then I kind of have a similar one. I have Hoth for number 2.
Very nice.
One of my favorite openings to a sequel ever.
Yeah,
Having this, it's such a good start to a movie, and again, kind of flipping, changing the environment to really give us a different kind of look at the Star Wars universe and what planets are out there, and how is the rebels, like, where are they taking charge? They have these different bases, and it's kind of cool to see that, how they're spread across these different planets in the galaxy. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, it's very different from going from sand to ice. So Hoth for number 2, and then number 1 Coruscant, because
Oh shit.
yeah,
Really?
I did, yeah, because I as much as I'm sure between Joey and I, I don't favor the prequels obviously as much as the originals, but um, there's something about Coruscant, like the way it was designed, like just the amount of buildings, and from a visual perspective and the visual effects perspective, and how they did it. I think it was quite an achievement to have that much stuff going on. There's like flying cars. There's really
Yeah.
tall buildings. It reminds me of all sorts of different movies that came after the prequels, and maybe even before. I could think of like Blade Runner and like Fifth Element, and I just watched something recently. It literally just made me think. Oh, it was the Loki show. Not recently, but the Loki show. There's a moment in the show where they are at the time kind of keeper peoples, and they show like where they live, and it's just all these like chromed out buildings, and it's so tall, and it just looks like it goes on forever. And then you mentioned the Jedi Temple and all the other kind of important areas that we see and play a huge part in Anakin and Obi-Wan's relations together. So yeah, um, Coruscant for number 1.
Okay.
I might want to live there, but maybe it might be too political and crazy for me. But
It would be a little political. Well, I mean, depending on what, like, would you want to live there though? Because if you're living there in the time of the Republic, the good times are going to end. And if you're living there afterwards, you're part of the Empire.
that's true. Maybe I won't live there. Maybe I'll live on Tatooine one day.
I'd live in Dagobah or Cloud City.
Cloud City,
Yeah,
I think the better choice, because
probably.
it's it seems such its own city, its own kind of not economy, but like it can stand on its own. I feel like you're not connected and tied to a lot of different things. Even though Lando got taken over by Darth Vader and had to deal with his commands, but yeah, it's such a cool looking place, and especially the interior, like all the designs of the inside of the buildings, the interiors, and everything. Like I think they have such a unique kind of look for like Star Wars, type places and stuff. So I'll give you
Yeah.
that one. I kind of regret not putting that on my list, but that's my 5.
It's a good five.
Sure, it'll change over time. Because now I think about it, it's like I didn't even think of that question as like, would I live there? I think that's kind of the thing I was I kind of missed. I was like, oh shoot. I was just like, they're just cool locations, but yeah, I think if you were gonna live somewhere, like my order might change. I think if I was gonna do that, so
Fair. Very fair. Well, right on, man.
yes, little
Um,
Star Wars.
we've got one more list if you've got time,
Let's do
if
it.
you're ready. All
Let's
right,
do it.
Jonathan. I was thinking about video games that need remastering, and what games I would want to see most in a remastered format. For those listening not knowing what the hell I'm talking about, or a remastered edition of a video game is an older game from a different era that has been remade or reissued for a current generation or current console system. So, Jonathan, what games from the past would you like to see remastered?
There's a lot on here, but I also had to look up because I was like, there are a lot of remasters coming out. So
Yeah,
it was a little difficult trying to figure out, has this been remastered already? You know, when I thought of the title. Um, I have, man, I got a whole bunch, but I'm gonna try to dwindle it down. So I have the infamous, I think it's a PlayStation exclusive
ah,
series, the infamous series. I think the first two, I think are all,
PS3.
I think PS3, and I don't think they have been ported over or even remastered for PS5, um,
Interesting.
which is interesting because it was one of their exclusive titles, and I feel like they're more inclined to kind of remaster exclusive titles every now and then. Um,
Yeah,
so Infamous, I thought that game was really fun, and it had this kind of sci-fi spin to it, and you had these powers, and you can mess with electricity and all this kind of stuff. But I found it really fun, there's a way of it reminded me of like Assassin's Creed with the kind of traveling and traversing on foot, and you can kind of jump and climb things. It was pretty much like being an X-Men or like a superhero in a game to some
that's
degree.
cool.
So yeah, I do wish they remake that because I feel like there is a following of people that I think really want to see that happen. And I think they made the last one I played from that series was Infamous Second Son, and I think that was on PS4. And I'm sure they probably would be more inclined to maybe remaster that game, but I think why not start with the earlier ones and then kind of make your way up? Or I think they've been doing these remasters where they bundle them together, which would be really cool. So Infamous for number 5. Um,
Nice.
I got two 007 games, so I'm gonna take that one out. At the same time, I'm gonna go number 4, 007 Nightfire. I think I had this on the GameCube, which
That would make sense.
was really fun. It was, it came a little after some other uh, 007 games, and I really liked the style of playing. The most fun I had with that was the co-op multiplayer, kind of local multiplayer where you can play with whoever has an extra controller on your console. The modes and how they customize matches was super fun, and the weapon sets were like just a blast. I had so much more fun not playing the campaign and more of the multiplayer, and that's usually the 007 games. They
Yeah,
started with GoldenEye, having those kind of like shooter multiplayer local games. But I can see it like being, they can remaster it and do like an online. Now we have a lot of online multiplayer. They can totally do something like that. Um, yeah, and then maybe remaster the campaign as well, like the main story that went with it. And I feel I feel like I don't know if it was under Rare, and I know there's always these. That's why some of these games haven't been remade yet. Is like
Nightfire.
Nightfire, or is it Nightfire?
No, Nightfire was EA.
EA. So I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with that, but there are like weird licensing and legal kind of crazy things. Uh,
Well, because it wouldn't just be EA that needs to do it. They would still need to have like because the license, I believe, for James Bond for producing James Bond games expired for EA. So it went over to
oh,
whoever else it was. So they wouldn't even be able to. I think that's how it works,
yeah.
but I could be very wrong.
I mean, that. I feel like that's probably the issue with a lot of these remasters, especially when it comes from like a movie property or something that has existed outside of the birth of the game or whatever. Um, but I mean, I would love to see Nightfire. It was so much fun playing that game, and if
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I would play it on like a Switch or if it's like on a PlayStation. I probably now prefer to play it on a PlayStation, but it would be kind of cool to get that if it was a Nintendo kind of exclusive game or something like that. I would go either
Yeah.
way. So number four, number three. This one's kind of a weird one, but I had a weird time playing this game, and I'm sure they've made more games in a series, like they've made more of them. But the first Super Monkey Ball for GameCube,
Ooh, okay.
and it's like it's kind of like the. I mean, it was kind of like
That
those
was a launch
early.
title.
That was a launch title, yeah. It was one of the early GameCube games. It was kind of a weird, like I don't know, like puzzle slash like I don't know how to describe Monkey Ball for anyone who doesn't know what it is, but it's pretty much you're a monkey inside of a ball, and you have to maneuver your way or like roll your way through these different platforms and mazes, and then you have to pretty much get to the end hole. So it's kind of similar to like probably a lot of these mobile games now, where you have the little
Yeah.
marble and you're moving around. But I found it like really fun and addictive when it was launched, and it was probably one of the first games I played for GameCube when I had it. And I think I didn't do too much research, but I think they released I'm sure another Monkey Ball game. But it would be really cool to get that first one remastered, which would be really really fun and interesting. And I think if anything, I could totally see it again being a multiplayer online experience. It would be really fun to get like. I know the popular game for those kind of things now would be like is it Fall Guys, like the kind of. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I would prefer it to be kind of a minimal thing, like maybe just more than maybe just four people, like keep it small and not like a big kind of you know thing. So yeah, I think it deserves a remaster. So Super
Fair.
Monkey Ball.
I wouldn't have thought of that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was just maybe it was the GameCube titles. I think were just like I had so much fun playing games on that platform. So that was number three. Number two, I've got Tony Hawk's Underground, which
Nice.
I feel like they're eventually going to do that remake because of the success, and I thoroughly enjoyed the remastered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 that they released. Was that last year now, or is that
2 years ago, I
two
think.
years ago, man? Um, that game, they just found a great way to that is like for as far as a perfect remaster, as far as keeping the essence of the original game and the functionality,
While
and
still updating it.
while still updating and making it obviously the graphically and also adding a little more to it, but still keeping the essence of the gameplay in check. I just feel like that's I feel like that's the most important part of a remake. It's not to, I mean, yeah, you can update the graphics and make it look nice, and yeah, of course, your system can probably run stuff like that. But I think it's initially the feeling you get when you play that game, and the the challenges you have, the way you move in the game. It like if Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 did not nail that, I feel like it would have been the biggest letdown ever. And
Yeah.
they delivered, and I really enjoyed that game, and I could totally see them remaking some of the other games in the series.
I hope so, man.
I hope so, yeah. And they could, we can get like 3 and 4, and I love the Thug series because they started doing, kind of more of the customization. You are your own skater, like you're the character
Yeah.
in the story that they've created in the campaign. So I think that was kind of a cool way to personalize like skaters can be anyone, and I think it even brought more popularity to skateboarding, being like you can be an amateur skateboarder and work your way up to professional. So
Yeah.
yeah, Thug, dude, Thug for and I mean I can't really remember Thug 2
No.
as much, but Thug was pretty dope.
Up to lame. But yeah, the
Yeah,
first one's a masterpiece. A fucking masterpiece.
and it took like some really crazy turns as far as the story and the characters they had in it.
Yeah. They had one of the best villains. He was on my one of my list of villains. Eric.
Eric, I remember Eric, dude.
Piece of shit.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
Fuck Eric.
so Thug.
And the board that he wrote it on.
Oh yeah, dude. Thug for number two, and then for number one, I've got which will probably never happen unless licensing and stuff. But GoldenEye 64,
Hell yeah.
probably the earliest shooter I can remember. Um, I mean, I feel like it has inspired so many different shooter games after the fact, and it it's like I know there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of shooters out there, and it can get crazy. Even the new COD stuff is just like there's a lot of stuff happening in those games, and this just brought like you just had so much fun like playing it, especially against your friends. And if you had a Nintendo 64 and you had four controllers, that was like a good night right there.
It was
And
a very, very good night. Yeah.
and you would go through the different game modes. Man with the golden gun, slappers only, knives only, grenades. I mean, those, and that's where like kind of my first, I think, experiences with like different types of gameplay and multiplayer and like that kind of thing started to pop up where you can customize your game, and you can just have endless amounts of time playing this game, which is so, it's so available today. But I feel like it still stands as one of like the greatest shooter games out there, and it's just a shame we can't like get that remake because of I think the legality stuff and with I think Rare Games. What is?
Well,
Oh, oh, oh. Are you giving me some?
there was a bunch of articles last month, around this time last month, that said an announcement could be imminent in the next few weeks, because apparently for the anniversary, for James Bond as a character's 60th anniversary, I believe, um, or maybe the start of the movies. Either way, they are re-releasing. Nintendo and Xbox have come to a term, agreed upon term, and it will be remastered and released for Xbox and Switch.
What?
If those rumors pan out,
Yeah,
it's not confirmed or anything yet, but that has been the rumor. If you Google GoldenEye remaster, you can read all about it.
dude. You know what? I hope that happens.
I do too.
I got one more thing because going off of that, um, remember the game Perfect Dark?
I do. I never got into it as much as everyone else.
But it was
Um,
it was the same people behind that game, right?
yes, it was rare. Yeah.
So I remember, I think this was, I don't know, it's probably been like a year or two now, but I remember when my brother got the newest Xbox, um, they remastered that game.
I remember
And
you telling me about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, if they can remaster this game, I know GoldenEye's it's a different property and everything, but like the probability of remastering GoldenEye could be there. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and it looked pretty good too. It's one of those remasters where they didn't do too much. They didn't like completely replace like the character model and everything like that. But
That's
it
cool. I
looked
like
really
I like
clean.
that.
It looked really clean, and the mechanics and everything felt like it. And it is. I think it used from what I remember with Perfect Dark, it was like pretty much the same mechanics as like GoldenEye, where you had the gun system and everything like that. And the maps were pretty much the same. I think they added like another map. Actually, they remastered like a GoldenEye map for that game. Um, I think it
What
was
map?
I think it was
You say facility, I'm gonna
facility.
kill myself.
I think it
God
was
damn it.
facility.
It's my favorite. It's maybe one of my favorite video game levels of all time.
It's either that
Facility.
one or the lab one with the it's like at the beginning. Is that the same one? No, right? With the bathroom
You
and
start
everything.
off you start off in the bathroom and you work your way to the laboratory.
I'm gonna text my brother later, but I believe that was one of the yeah they were able to kind of do that. It did look, from what I
Holy
remember, it did
shit.
look a little different. They kind of textured it differently, but
Sure.
that's where I kind of felt like, oh man, they can kind of I think they can do this like remake for
That's
Goldeneye.
incredible. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
so
I hope to see it.
I hope so
I hope
too,
it
Ted.
happens.
And then we'll have to
I
play
hope
it
it
together.
happens. Yes, absolutely. Because there'd definitely be online play that time, I would hope.
Yes.
Um, good list, man. Yeah. You got two double O's on there.
Yeah, because they're fun games, man. And I just
They
feel
were,
like in
yeah.
this day and age, it's like I feel like there's a lot of people in our generation that like played those games, and also online shooter games are still a huge part of the gaming community. And why not, bring those back?
Fucking A.
Why not?
I agree. I agree.
All right, Joey. What are
Um,
your five? I'm kind of curious to hear these two.
all right. I will say GoldenEye was on there at one point. I've since stricken him from the record. Um, number five, Arkham Origins. Um,
Oh, I haven't
this
played
game gets a
that.
lot of shit, but it's pretty fucking cool. It's basically Batman Year One, the video game, and it takes place during Christmas. So yeah, it's the same map as Arkham City, but I mean, it's snowing and I don't know, it's cool. They got a bunch of good skins for Batman to wear. The story was one of the best out of the Arkham series, I thought. They could upgrade the playability to match that of Rocksteady's. But yeah, that was an all around really good game. I really liked it. Um,
Was that one made by another studio? Is that why it
yeah,
didn't?
that was Warner Brothers Montreal or WB
Okay.
Montreal Games. Yeah.
Because they
Um,
because they remastered the
the
Arkham the first like few, right?
Asylum City and well, not Night because Night is current, but yeah, yeah. And I have those and they're great. But I would love to be able to dive back into Arkham Origins. Um, yeah, I think the way they treated that game is kind of shitty. The way everyone treated that game is kind of shitty. It wasn't, unfortunately, it was just a product, that Warner Brothers was pumping out, but it was a lot better than it had any right to be, and it has the legacy of that it shouldn't have. It should be able to rise above that.
Yeah.
Anyway, off my soapbox, on to the next one. Number four, I'm going to go NFL Blitz. Um,
Oh, Blitz,
any of those
dude.
games, really. I had so much fun playing. And if no, you know what? Fuck Blitz. NBA Street Volume 2.
Yo, okay, that's a good choice.
That's the one. That's the one. Um, where you could I was Dr. J, I was um fucking Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan,
Yeah, dude.
Kobe. Like what a cool fucking game that was. Um, instantly accessible, intuitive, colorful. The soundtrack was great. Um, yeah, I don't know anyone who was like, "Oh, fuck that game." Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
great
dude.
game. Um,
And it can cater to so many like fans of video games and basketball. And
yeah,
I think our generation. I feel like a lot of people played that game in our generation, dude.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. It's excellent. It's really good. Number three, I'm gonna go Zelda Wind Waker.
Okay.
Now, this technically did get an HD remake on the Wii U, but I want to play that game on the Switch very badly.
Okay.
Full HD Switch remake would be tits to be able to lay in bed and play Wind Waker is one of the most charming looking video games, I think. Visually, it's just such a charming game. But yeah, and it's one of the best Zelda games, I think. Um, Originally for GameCube, re-released on Wii U, but I'd love to see it on the Switch. Number two, Conker's Bad Fur Day,
Oh yeah, of
um,
course.
which is one of those, made by Rare on a Nintendo exclusive. Microsoft now owns Rare, so
It's
it'll never see the light of day again. I believe they did like make I think it was called Conquer Reloaded, and I believe it was a remaster of the N64 game for Xbox. It
oh
was like an
crazy. Okay.
Xbox exclusive or something like that. And but apparently they toned down the humor and toned down the violence. It's like,
Oh
why
no.
was it more violent and crude on Nintendo? That's weird.
Yeah. Dude,
Um,
what the
but yeah, I
hell?
would want this game in all of its problematic glory. Um, Let me just say, yeah. And then number one, the game that really got me back into gaming in college. I would love to just be able to pop on Call of Duty Black Ops, jump into multiplayer. I'm talking the first Black Ops was so good, and I'm sure they've remastered a map here or there, but oh my God, that whole game. and especially the multiplayer and the zombies, everything was just fantastic. Hours and hours and hours of fun with my roommate Brendan. Me and him would just, you know, we got really good at zombies, and yeah, I miss being able to just. That was a great kind of not stress relief, but kind of decompress time. Like
Yes.
okay, and it's like I don't want to learn the new Call of Duties. I don't want the new features. I just want that game. And
Yeah.
that's the one I like. That's the one I'm comfortable with. I like those guns. I like those maps. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want anything new. I just want that one. So yeah,
You know what's
there we
funny?
go.
I like that one, dude. You know what's funny? You mentioned like the remade maps or like for the kind of next titles or the other versions of it. And I always feel like they're always try to do something. They always try to keep it like the original, but they always try to add something in there. Like
Yep,
even that, like the map design and stuff was really fun. And yeah, zombies was like so addictive. And when you got the hang
that
of
was
like
wild.
when you get the hang of it and you know like the whole routine or whatever, it's
Hmm.
so much fun. Yeah, I remember you guys playing a lot of that. So, dude, that's a good choice. It's funny
Yeah.
because COD is it's blown up into this. It's just a whole thing. It's a whole franchise of games, and um, it's kind of cool to like go back to some of those older COD games. Like, I don't even know how many are even people playing like the first Black Ops still. Like, can you
No, if
like
I could, if
outside of
I
the
could get
online
my
stuff?
PS3 running, I probably could,
Dude,
but I
I might
don't
have to
know.
find a copy of that somehow
Yeah.
because I saw my PlayStation 3 and
Oh, you did?
I know I still have it. Sorry, I still have it.
Oh, I thought you said you sold it.
I
Okay.
still have it with PlayStation 3. It's the Slim, and I feel like I feel like I can probably find that somewhere, but I don't know if like sometimes games that's the thing too with the online is like after
It might
so
have been
much
shut down.
time they shut down their servers and stuff and make way for
Yeah.
the the next game or whatever. But COD, yeah, you're right, dude. Kind of decompressing and stuff. I feel like because that's what games should be like. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm stressing out so hard trying to beat this. I mean, at times there are games that like
At times. At times.
Zelda and like those types of games where you can just go at it for hours and get frustrated for sure. But that's a good one. I didn't actually wasn't expecting you to have a Call of Duty title, but I remember you played that
I don't
game
think I
a
was
lot.
either.
So good list, dude.
Thanks, man. Good list to you as well.
Good list. Good list.
Yes. Jonathan, do you have anything you'd like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely Magicans this week? I almost forgot the next part of the show.
I mean, nothing. Nothing really. I just want to say, thanks to my grandma and my parents for coming down. It was cool seeing you guys, and I got to see James White, one of my family's friends. He actually, I feel so like we had this discussion too. That when I saw him, I was like, he lives in Los Angeles, and I just like, dude, I should have connected with you earlier, but we're kind of been wanting to have him on the show, and I've been talking to Joey, and I was like, dude, we should have James White on the show. He's a good friend of our family, and he's a film TV critic, so he's perfect for this, a perfect guest for our show. So we're definitely in the future going to have him on,
Right
and
on.
yeah, I would. I mean, it'd be so interesting to talk with him, and but yeah, I was really just happy to have my family down here this weekend or this past weekend, and it was just cool seeing them. And yeah, that's
Nice,
it.
dude.
A little shout out. How about you,
Little
Joey?
shout. I want to put a spotlight on my lady. Um,
Hey.
so she's was featured for Women's Month. Metaverse Minute, 9 women who are building the metaverse. And there she is right there.
Yo, that's so cool.
So yeah, it's a blog on Unity. Unity, I believe, is like the game engine stuff, where you can build games and stuff inside Unity. But yeah, they featured Alicia and 8 other amazingly talented ladies. But I get to live with one of them and wake up with one of them, and I'm just so proud of her. And she is not only talented but so hardworking, and then on top of that, a good person. You know what I mean? Like a truly caring, selfless person. And I didn't know all of those qualities could exist in one person. So I'm really proud of her. I'm really excited for her, and I think this is well deserved. So yeah, woke up to that this morning. That was pretty cool. Being like,
Cool.
holy shit.
Yeah. Holy dude,
So
that's dope. Well, yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome. I mean, that's so cool. And yeah, she's. I remember when. Yeah, she was when I got to visit you guys last time I was in town. It was so cool, like talking with her and like her showing us, her VR stuff, and that's so cool, man. That's really
yeah,
cool. So congrats, congrats.
yeah. Thank you. Very, very excited for her. So
Yay.
she doesn't want to brag, but I'll brag for her.
There you go.
But yeah, so there we go. Jonathan, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Sean Day Music, on my website, seandaymusic.net.
Dot net,
.net.
net.
We should have a soundboard too. Just net.
Net.
What else? Yeah, I am releasing some electronic music this Friday, March 18th. I have to think about that for a second.
Ooh.
Under the name Pillow Fight Music at pillowfight_music. And you can find me on all the streaming platforms, I guess. Pillow Fight Music. Pillow Fight, 2 words. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, Joey, where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Joey Parati and on my website, joeyparati.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter, at gmail.com, or on Apple Music, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spotify, wherever the hell you listen to your podcast. You can also watch our show on our YouTube channel. And of course, we're on Facebook as well. So please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you
all the sex effects love in return, y'all.
all the sex effects love in return, y'all. Until next time, I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for listening.